If you think there are places on Earth too harsh for humans to call home, look at the extraordinary villages that still exist within some of the planet's most extreme landscapes. Across the world, people have built their lives in places clinging to sheer cliffs, buried in ice, scorched by desert heat, isolated in the open sea, or suspended high above dangerous terrain where even a single mistake could be fatal. Surrounded by violent winds, freezing cold, or near total isolation, these communities continue to endure through extraordinary resilience and adaptation. Each village is not only a place to live, but also a testament to human will in the face of nature at its most unforgiving. Join us as we explore the most extreme villages on Earth, where survival continues in conditions that are almost impossible to imagine. In Greenland, Qaqortoq sits between bare rock terrain and icy sea, where people live under long isolation and clear natural limits. The area has no continuous road system, so transportation depends on sea and air routes when weather conditions allow movement. The ground is mostly exposed rock with very thin soil, making farming and large plant growth nearly impossible over long periods. Houses are built strong with good insulation to maintain stable living conditions in a cold and demanding environment. Some areas remain covered by ice for many months, interrupting daily life and making outside access more difficult. Moving ice passes through the area and shifts away over time, forcing people to adjust continuously to a changing environment. Namche Bazaar is a bustling village perched on a horseshoe-shaped cliff at an elevation of 11,286 feet in the Himalayas of Nepal. At this extreme location, oxygen in the air is only about 60%, forcing the human body to undergo genetic mutations to survive. The entire town has absolutely no paved roads or vehicles, so all goods must be transported by human power or herds of yaks. Sturdy stone houses are built in a steep terraced style right next to deep abysses, creating an extremely formidable architectural structure. This is the wealthiest economic center in the region, featuring automated teller machines and modern services located amidst the eternal mountain terrain. The existence of a fully equipped urban center right at the doorstep of Mount Everest has made this place a symbol of extraordinary adaptation. Reigning over the sharp mountain ridges on the Tenerife island of Spain, Masca, is an ancient stone village perched precariously between the very deep abysses. The houses here were built from volcanic stone and clay mud, clinging tightly to the steep slopes like a natural part of the rugged mountain. Until the year 1991, this village still had no official paved road, and residents could only travel by using donkeys through trails. The hidden location among giant cliffs once made this place an ideal lair for pirate gangs to hide their treasures from the outside world. The slope of the cliffs surrounding the village reaches 80 degrees, creating an extreme survival space amidst the lush and very vibrant green palm trees. Although the core area is extremely small every year, this destination still attracts 1 million visitors to explore and experience its many unique historic wonders. Perched at an altitude of over 1,100 meters, Ping'an clings to the Longji limestone slopes where absolutely no flat ground exists for the local people. You must navigate rugged mountain paths through thick fog and rain to reach these wooden houses hanging directly over the steep and dangerous vertical abyss. For over 600 years, the Zhuang people have shaped the slopes into massive terraced systems to manage water and sustain life in this environment. At dawn, when sunlight hits the water-filled fields, the entire mountainside becomes a natural reflection system as large as an ocean hanging high in the sky. With generations staying on these slopes, the village preserves ancient farming methods and language while welcoming many of you who come to visit the area. Today, Pingyan functions as a real agricultural site and a primary base for you to explore the vast and world-famous Longji Rice Terrace landscape. Scorched by the brutal heat of the Sahara Desert fringe, 8 Ben Haddou stands as a lonely mud fortress struggling against the relentless forces of natural decay. Living inside structures made entirely of clay and straw, residents face a paradox where their houses will literally melt during occasional periods of very heavy rain. Recognized by UNESCO in 1987, this heritage site appears as a mud village clinging to a hillside to avoid being swallowed by the vast desert. The entire fortress architecture must strictly follow the natural steep slopes, making the defensive watchtowers and narrow pathways become extremely difficult and very dangerous to navigate. Today, this village represents an extreme intersection between local families staying in ancient houses and modern art galleries that serve the many visiting international tourists. The harsh beauty of this Xar region has transformed the location into a vivid natural stage for famous epic movie scripts that are known throughout the whole world. Görum village, situated in the Cappadocia region of Turkey, appears as an ancient architectural complex carved directly into the very heart of the natural stones. Through millions of years of weathering, mushroom-shaped limestone columns rising side by side have created a grand network of residential houses and historic monasteries. Reaching heights of 130 feet, these towering natural rock formations equal to 12-story buildings serve as a protective shell for daily life. Local residents have skillfully hollowed out the soft mountainside to establish over 200 cave hotels along with a system of comfortable modern interior facilities. Lush vineyards and apricot orchards growing straight from the ancient volcanic ash layers provide a rich and prosperous source of life for this unique village. The human presence within these eternal limestone towers is a testament to the brilliant wisdom of adapting to the most extreme and difficult terrains. Barentsburg sits solitary within the Svalbard archipelago of Norway, acting as a rugged Russian soul clinging firmly to the ancient and frozen coal seams there. This village resembles a living time capsule featuring boxy brick buildings and a towering statue standing guard amidst an endless and stark white wilderness. Life in this settlement operates entirely without physical cash because every resident uses one single identification card to pay for all of their daily needs. The brightly colored apartment rows appear like vibrant oil streaks, splashed across the gloomy gray canvas of limestone and dark dust from the industrial mines. One ginger cat was officially registered as a fox to bypass the strict pet ban, becoming a rare symbol of warmth in this harsh land. The deep mine shafts plunge over 1,600 feet underground, which equals the height of the tallest skyscraper in Vietnam, submerged beneath the cold sea. Perched on a high mountain peak in central Portugal, Monsanto is an architectural masterpiece where humans build their lives sandwiched between massive granite boulders. The houses here utilize giant rocks for roofs or walls, creating a unique living space that merges perfectly with the natural and ancient geological formations. The weight of a single rock on a rooftop can reach 400,000 pounds, which is equivalent to the mass of 4 giant blue whales. The mystical beauty of this ancient village was once chosen as a primary filming location for epic movies about the world of legendary flying dragons. Local residents have maintained a resilient existence for many centuries by adapting perfectly to the rugged terrain, without ever breaking or destroying the stone. Narrow paths winding through rock crevices lead visitors into a silent labyrinth where time seems to have completely turned into stone and frozen forever. In the frozen inland region of Siberia, Yakutsk exists as a large city built on permafrost where winter temperatures can drop close to 80 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit and last for many months. Average winter temperatures often fall below 40 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit and remain for long periods, making outdoor activity dangerous without proper protection. Buildings are raised on piles to prevent heat from thawing frozen ground, which could otherwise cause serious structural collapse. Infrastructure systems such as pipes must stay above ground because buried systems would quickly freeze and fail in extreme conditions. Vehicles are often kept running during winter because engines can freeze and fail to restart in such low temperatures. Outdoor activities are strictly limited because extreme cold makes prolonged exposure a direct risk to human health. Kazar stands in the Himachal Pradesh state of India like a massive stone fortress guarding the boundary between the earth and the sky. This village is situated at a staggering altitude of approximately 12,467 feet, where low atmospheric pressure makes every human breath heavy. Surrounding the entire area is a barren, cold desert terrain, with limestone cliffs eroded to create a landscape that looks like another planet. Human existence here is a miracle, as people must cultivate barley on steep fields during only 90 short days. Kaza is proud to possess a fuel retail station located at an elevation of 12,270 feet, serving the bravest vehicles conquering dangerous roads. Villa Las Estrellas stands boldly in the heart of frozen Antarctica as a resilient human outpost amidst a vast land traditionally reserved for eternal polar ice. Residents must undergo surgery to remove their appendix to ensure absolute safety before starting a long-term life in this extremely remote and isolated village. Vibrant container houses are perched upon sturdy steel stilts, creating a unique residential complex situated directly on the raw and dark volcanic rock desert terrain. With about 80 people living here, this tiny community possesses a post office and school, maintaining civil life at the very end of the world. The distance of nearly 2,000 miles separating the village from the nearest mainland makes all basic supplies and green vegetables precious like pure gold. Coastal shores surrounding the settlement are covered in ice fragments and volcanic rocks where wild animals roam freely between the various human-made industrial structures. Setenil de las Bodegas hides within a narrow canyon in Spain, with rows of white houses nestled directly beneath massive and imposing natural limestone cliffs. These natural rock overhangs, weighing tens of thousands of tons, protrude from the mountainside, serving as a permanent roof for all the streets found below. Local residents build house walls, pressed tightly against the rock interior, creating unique living spaces where the boundary between nature and architecture completely fades. With a thickness reaching 65 feet, these natural stone roofs protect the village from external impacts and maintain stability for the entire structure. The system of wine cellars and restaurants utilizes deep cave interiors to store food effectively without needing any intervention from modern and expensive equipment. Human life is closely linked to the river flowing along the canyon, creating a resilient residential complex throughout thousands of years of many historical ups. Reigning over the vast Brunei River, Kampong Ayer is a giant water city where thousands of wooden stilt houses connect through an extensive bridge system. The wooden pedestrian bridge network, stretching for 19 miles, serves as the backbone connecting all living and trading activities for the entire local community here. The entire structure of the village is supported by over 1 million wooden and concrete pillars driven deep into the riverbed for 600 years. All essential infrastructure from schools to cathedrals is built floating on the water surface, creating an extremely unique and very resilient modern social system. High-speed motorboats gliding continuously create white waves, acting as the primary means of transportation for the residents to travel to and from land. The lives of 30,000 residents take place entirely on the waves as a testament to the wonderful human ability to adapt to the ocean. Perched on the vertical limestone cliffs of Liguria, Italy, the existence of Rio Maggiore is a geological puzzle where ancient structures are pinned directly into steep mountain crevices. To adapt to the extremely narrow space, residents built tower houses reaching 4 stories high, creating a unique vertical housing system found nowhere else. The harsh terrain forces the village to maintain terraces with slopes of up to 45 degrees, where humans must farm on dangerous cliff faces. Most remarkably, a system of steep monorails runs along the mountainsides to transport grapes at an elevation of over 1,600 feet above the sea. In the narrow harbour, locals do not anchor boats in the water, but use pulleys to haul them onto the main walkway to avoid violent waves. The resilient survival of this ancient village for 1,000 years demonstrates the extraordinary human ability to adapt to the most extreme landscapes on Earth. In the Lazio region of Italy, a massive tufa column supports Civita di Bagnoregio, an ancient village being ravaged by nature for thousands of years. This entire ancient structure is completely isolated amidst a chasm hundreds of feet deep, creating a lonely and mysterious stone fortress. The existence of the village is a geological tragedy as soft cliffs continuously collapse into the grey valley surrounding it. With uncontrollable erosion rates, the area of this landmark is gradually shrinking and faces the risk of disappearing forever in the future. Today, only about 10 residents stubbornly remain in this stagnant space where history and natural destruction intersect. The only path to the outside world is a steep pedestrian bridge about 984 feet long, with no access for motor vehicles. Wengen, Switzerland, is an isolated village perched on a massive rock shelf at an elevation of 4,180 feet, right at the edge of the deepest abyss in the world. The most extreme feature is the complete absence of cars, which makes all commercial activities dependent on the cogwheel railway line. This treacherous terrain forces people to supply essential goods by train climbing through vertical cliffs with extremely steep gradients. It features the longest downhill ski race on the planet, called the Loberhorn, with a distance of 2.7 miles, where athletes reach speeds of 100 miles per hour. Ancient and sturdy wooden chalets cling to the precarious landscape, directly facing 3 permanent ice walls that rise 13,000 feet high. The existence of Wengen is a testament to the extraordinary adaptability of humans before the most severe limits of nature. Monemvasia in Greece is a massive limestone structure that separated from the mainland following a catastrophic earthquake occurring in 375 AD. This entire ancient village was built completely hidden behind a 600-foot cliff, making it invisible to any sightline from the mainland. Human existence here relies on a single solitary path, crossing the sea, serving as a testament to an absolute defensive position. The inhabitants here established underground rainwater cistern systems to maintain life on the barren rock mass in the middle of the ocean. For over 1,400 years, this landmark has never been uninhabited, holding the record as the longest continuously occupied fortress in Europe. All cargo transportation activities today still depend on human power or donkeys, because the walkways are only 3 to 5 feet wide. Stepantsminda is a harsh survival outpost located near the Russian border that stands tall at an elevation of 5,710 feet, right at the foot of the majestic Caucasus Mountains. This location forces residents to face extremely low oxygen levels in the air, which makes every physical activity become incredibly difficult. The terrain here is surrounded by vertical cliffs and a mountain peak reaching 16,581 feet, creating a massive and isolated stone basin. Humans here have adapted in an extraordinary way as their bodies naturally produce a much higher red blood cell count to maintain resilient life. Traditional houses are built entirely from thick stone blocks for the purpose of withstanding the most extreme geological pressures. The existence of the village on a historic trade junction between treacherous canyons is a testament to the bravery of conquering nature. Perched at an elevation of 5,374 feet on the Swiss Alps, the village of Mürren defies all construction laws by sitting precariously on the edge of a sheer cliff. This village is completely isolated from the modern world due to its treacherous terrain, making motor vehicles unable to access it via ordinary roads. Residents and thousands of tons of essential supplies each year must travel through a cable car system suspended over an abyss 2,600 feet deep. The existence of Mürren depends entirely on aerial transport techniques because all structures are situated on a vertical limestone geological formation. Ancient wooden chalets here hold a firm grip right in front of the direct view toward the magnificent limestone peaks and eternal glaciers. This extreme topography turns Mürren into a unique natural fortress where humans adapt perfectly to life on the cliff faces. The Meteora rock complex in the Thessaly region of Greece is one of the most extreme settlement areas on our entire planet. These vertical sandstone pillars rise over 1,300 feet high, creating a living space completely separated from the world below. For many centuries, residents here built sturdy structures on the rock summits by transporting materials through complex pulley systems. The movement of people depended entirely on rope nets, hanging suspended between the 90-degree steep cliffs. Local people had to spend more than 20 years just to bring enough supplies to the high peaks before beginning construction. This site has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site thanks to the incredible combination of geological formation and human will. On the edge of Portugal's western coast, the village of Azenas do Mar appears dramatically as it clings tightly to limestone cliffs directly above the sea. These white houses are built in unique layers according to a specific architectural style, about 50 to 100 feet above the water. The most incredible feature is a saltwater pool surrounded by stone walls that endure massive waves reaching heights of 30 feet. The name of the village originates from ancient watermills that once utilized streams flowing directly into the Atlantic Ocean. Residents must navigate narrow paths and steep stone staircases to move between structures located right on the edge of the abyss. Azenas do Mar serves as a testament to human survival when building a life on such extreme and dangerous terrain. Hidden within the vast desert, in southern Peru, Huacachina village opens to a green oasis amidst endless golden sand dunes, sparking curiosity about this incredible wild place. This natural oasis is surrounded by sand dunes, hundreds of feet tall, creating complexes desert terrain ideal for studying dune movement and wind-shaped landscapes. Visitors can join high-adrenaline dune buggy tours or sandboard down steep dunes to experience adventure in the vast desert. Small paths around the oasis lead to cafes and lodges, providing direct views of the water and adjacent arid dunes. The area also attracts desert ecology research thanks to the rare oasis water from underground sources supporting observation of vegetation at the shore. Huacachina village has a population of about 100 residents, but welcomes tens of thousands of visitors each year with lively desert tours and exciting lagoon activities. Piercing the Cappadocia sky, as a massive volcanic monolith, Uchasar is a village perched on porous rock so fragile that it faces the constant risk of collapse. While tough is ideal for carving, this silica-rich structure turns into a nightmare when wet, easily cracking and causing dangerous landslides during heavy seasonal rainstorms. Survival here means accepting risks near the edge of death, as a single heavy downpour can wipe out narrow mountain paths and thin cliff walls instantly. Formed 10 million years ago from ash and lava, this fortress was hollowed out by ancient people seeking refuge deep inside the soft volcanic stone heart. The complex network of caves and secret tunnels within the stone creates a mysterious underground city completely isolated from the harsh environment of the outside desert world. Today, sleeping in these ancient rock chambers is not just tourism, but a real experience of the extreme resilience required to live within a stone civilization. Perched precariously at the southernmost tip of the French island of Corsica, the town of Bonifacio defies every law of physics by sitting right on the edge of white limestone cliffs. These centuries-old houses were built at a height of over 230 feet, which is equal to a 20-story skyscraper. Because sea waves eroded the base over millions of years, these structures actually rest on a stone ledge jutting out into mid-air. At its narrowest point, the entire town is only about 650 feet wide, creating an extreme living space amidst incredibly steep cliffs. Humans adapted by carving 187 stone steps by hand into the cliffside to connect the high city with the deep blue sea. The resilient existence of Bonifacio on the brink of collapse makes it one of the most unbelievable settlements in the world. Off the northern coast of Scotland, Fula village appears as a small community surrounded by high cliffs and open ocean where people must live in long periods of isolation. Winds in the area often exceed 40 miles per hour, without barriers creating constant pressure on structures and making outdoor movement difficult to control. The island's surface is mostly hard rock, with thin soil limiting farming and forcing residents to depend on available natural resources. Living space is divided by terrain and weather, increasing distances between homes and making mutual support more difficult. Houses are built low and solid, and spread across uneven terrain to reduce risk during extended periods of severe weather. The population is only a few dozen people, allowing the entire community to become fully isolated for several days when sea conditions prevent access. This is Utqiagvik, the northernmost city in the United States, located over 300 miles north of the Arctic Circle, near the freezing Beaufort and Chukchi Seas. In this place, there are about 65 days without any sunlight and 80 days where the sun never sets each year due to its polar location. You will walk on a flat landscape of permafrost and tundra where the unstable ground makes building permanent roads or modern sewage systems extremely difficult. Life here remains very traditional, as some households still live without modern plumbing and rely on old oil heaters to survive the extreme polar cold. The indigenous Inupiat people have thrived in this region for over 15 centuries, creating a unique culture centered around hunting marine animals in the Arctic. Every journey through this settlement takes you across vast sea ice and snow, offering a very extreme experience where local hospitality meets the harsh northern frontier. In Ethiopia, Dalol lies deep within a geological depression where the ground is constantly reshaped by geothermal activity, creating one of the harshest environments on Earth. The area sits about 400 feet below sea level, and combined with high average temperatures, it is considered one of the hottest environments on the planet. Hydrothermal pools contain liquid with near zero pH and extremely high salinity, creating chemical conditions beyond what most life forms can survive. Shallow magma activity and hot water vents continuously reshape the surface, forming and removing mineral layers within short periods of time. The air in some zones contains toxic gases such as sulfur and chlorine, increasing exposure risks and limiting human presence to very short durations. Some studies confirm that certain pools here contain no life at all, despite the presence of water due to extreme heat, acidity, and salinity. Deep in the Amazon rainforest of Peru, Iquitos exists as an isolated city where all land roads end and movement depends entirely on rivers and air travel. The city is more than 2,300 miles from the ocean and has no road connection, forcing transport to rely on boats and aircraft. Dense surrounding rainforest creates a closed environment that limits expansion of infrastructure and urban development. Low elevation causes many areas to flood during rainy seasons, disrupting daily life and forcing adaptation to changing conditions. Infrastructure develops slowly due to transport limits, increasing construction and maintenance costs compared to other cities. During flood seasons, many roads disappear underwater and all movement shifts to river-based transportation systems. Perched on a remote plateau of Varga Island in the Faroe Islands, Gassadalur appears as a green oasis, imprisoned between towering cliffs and the vast ocean. This village was once one of the most isolated places on the planet, as it was besieged by mountains rising over 2,300 feet above sea level. Before 2004, the only way to reach it was by climbing over steep slopes or using a helicopter to land on the plateau's summit. The most astonishing feature is the waterfall here, which drops directly from a height of 100 feet into the deep blue sea without hitting any rocks. The extreme nature of the terrain caused the population here to decline severely at one point, leaving only 12 people living and holding on. Today, a mountain tunnel measuring 4,600 feet long has become the sole connection helping to maintain the existence of this tiny community. In the Sahara Desert of Libya, Ghadams appears as an oasis known as the Pearl of the Desert, where multi-level houses and covered pathways form a closed survival system. Annual rainfall is about 1 inch, making water extremely limited and forcing the entire settlement to manage storage and usage under strict control. House design follows a vertical layout with ground floors for storage, middle levels for family living, and rooftops connected as separate functional spaces. Covered alleys connect into a continuous enclosed network, allowing you to move without direct exposure to the harsh outside environment. The old settlement is surrounded by walls and was divided into clan-based sections, each with shared spaces for organized community activities. The population is about 10,000 people living in dense space, creating a rare enclosed settlement structure within a vast desert region. Perched on a sharp sandstone spur in Italy's Liguria region, Vernazza stands as a powerful testament to the impossible existence of humanity. The village is wedged tightly between the deep ocean and vertical cliffs, sloping more than 60 degrees, creating an extreme vertical construction structure. To survive, residents stacked millions of dry stones to form a 4,000-mile wall system to hold soil on the narrow slopes. Towering houses grow directly from the rock foundations, where people must climb 75 steep steps just to reach their own front doors. The environmental severity peaked in 2011 when a 13-foot mudslide buried the entire first floor, forcing the village to rise from the ashes. Today, this unique natural horseshoe harbor still stands firm against the heavy waves, confirming the intense, adaptive power of mankind against nature. Thixi village in the Ladakh region of India is an architectural wonder that defies gravity as it is built in a tiered fashion on a steep hill. This village is located at a record altitude of about 11,800 feet above sea level, where the thin air makes every breath extremely difficult. The entire structure of houses and temples here is stacked into 12 vibrant levels, looking like a giant pyramid from a distance. The most impressive highlight is the statue of Maitreya Buddha, standing 49 feet tall, placed deep inside the solid stone structure that has existed for centuries. In Italy, Isola Superiore village sits within a lake measuring about 375 meters long and 100 meters wide, yet still supports a stable community in a very limited space. Access depends entirely on boats making all movement and supply transport controlled by water conditions and travel schedules. Residents must adapt to extremely tight space where houses are built closely together, leaving almost no room for expansion. The island contains only a few narrow paths running along its length, connecting small alleys within a highly restricted area. The permanent population is around 50 people, making daily life dependent on small-scale resources and limited social structure. Some walkways are so narrow that a person can touch both walls at once, showing an unusually dense building layout. Perched precariously atop the flaming red sandstone cliffs of the Taihang Mountains in China, Guoliang Village stands as a naturally isolated mountain fortress. For centuries, residents here were completely cut off from the outside world by sheer vertical cliffs, rising over 600 feet in height. To escape this isolation, local farmers used only hammers and steel chisels to carve an incredible 0.78-mile tunnel through the rock. This hand-carved passage is approximately 13 feet wide and was completed after 5 years of grueling labor and the loss of human life. The extreme terrain forced the inhabitants to construct their entire house's fences and daily utensils from the raw local stones found on the mountain. The continued existence of this community of 300 people is the clearest testament to extraordinary human adaptation in the face of natural adversity. In northern Chile, San Pedro de Atacama lies within the driest desert in the world at about 8,000 feet, where rainfall is nearly absent over extended periods. You must adapt to thin air and dry conditions where the body tires quickly, and survival depends on adjusting to limited water availability. The Atacameño people have lived here for over 10,000 years, maintaining a stable community by managing scarce water and adapting to harsh conditions. The terrain consists mostly of dry soil and rock, with very little vegetation, creating a wide space but lacking natural resources for long-term living. The region receives about 0.6 inches of rain each year, making water depend mainly on underground systems and specific geological conditions. Some desert areas here have recorded no rainfall for over 400 years, creating an extremely long, dry cycle rarely seen on Earth. Calcata village is perched precariously atop a compressed volcanic rock mass within the Treja Valley of Italy, creating a very challenging and unique architectural form. This ancient village has endured persistently through more than 3,000 years of history, longer than the standing time of the famous Roman Colosseum structure. All houses were built using the same tough stone taken from the cliffs, making the building colors blend perfectly into the natural stone background. The rock mass surrounding the village stands vertical at 90 degrees with a height of 164 feet, equal to a 15-story building. Small, narrow and winding alleys, just wide enough for one person, often end at stone balconies, opening directly to the very deep and dark abyss. People here have revived the land that was once abandoned to create a creative living community right on the brink of very great and constant danger. Undredal village in Norway is located between steep cliffs and a deep fjord, immediately attracting curiosity and exploration. Some caves in the village are habitats for rare bats and birds, never recorded anywhere else in the world. The village spans about 300 acres, including narrow valleys, steep slopes, and deep fjord, creating a harsh but stable living environment for residents. You must travel by boat or walk along narrow mountain trails to observe the full view of fjord-steep cliffs and interspersed green forests. Residents use traditional agricultural techniques to maximize land use, raising goats and planting crops adapted to steep terrain. Some slopes reach 60% steepness, and average mountain height near the village is about 400 feet, making living and moving extremely challenging. In Italy, Isola Superiore village sits within a lake measuring about 375 meters long and 100 meters wide, yet still supports a stable community in a very limited space. Access depends entirely on boats, making all movement and supply transport controlled by water conditions and travel schedules. Residents must adapt to extremely tight space where houses are built closely together, leaving almost no room for expansion. The island contains only a few narrow paths running along its length, connecting small alleys within a highly restricted area. The permanent population is around 50 people, making daily life dependent on small-scale resources and limited social structure. Some walkways are so narrow that a person can touch both walls at once, showing an unusually dense building layout. On a plateau in India, you enter Cherrapunji, where rainfall has exceeded 450 inches per year and water constantly reshapes the entire land surface. The area stands about 4,300 feet high, receiving moist winds from the ocean that quickly condense into dense rainfall over many months. Large volumes of water over time cause strong erosion, forming cliffs and deep valleys that make movement and living conditions more difficult. The ground stays wet and unstable as water flows continuously, making construction and infrastructure development challenging in this environment. Roads can be eroded by strong flowing water, making access to some areas change depending on the season. Cherrapunji has recorded rainfall exceeding 450 inches per year, placing it among the highest ever measured on Earth. Floating on the Tonle Sap Lake is Chong Kanias, a unique village located in the heart of the largest freshwater lake in the Southeast Asian region today. The floating houses and wooden rafts are designed very intelligently to rise and fall smoothly according to the changing water levels of each rainy or dry season. Seen from above, the village appears as a mobile city with vibrant colors floating amidst the vast and quiet landscape of the local river water system. All daily trade and travel activities take place on boats, creating busy water streets that are not different from the busy roads on the dry land. From a very young age, children here have learned the skill of rowing boats expertly as an essential survival instinct to adapt to their environment now. Despite facing many challenges regarding sanitation while depending entirely on lake water, this local community still maintains a very strong and resilient lifestyle today. Deep within the limestone mountains of Guangxi, China, Burma stands as a longevity sanctuary where human beings live in perfect harmony with the pure, natural world. The magnetic force here is twice as strong as normal, helping to stabilize heart rates and regenerate energy for millions of people seeking a home. These massive limestone caves can easily fit 10 jumbo jets inside, acting as a unique shelter and healing place for many patients seeking a miracle. The Emerald River, winding around the village, carries rare minerals that help nourish the youthful blood vessels of the many local centenarians living here today. The soil in this region contains selenium levels 10 times higher than average, creating clean food sources that effectively block the growth of bad cells. Here, the rate of people living over 100 years is 5 times higher than the global average, making death a century fulfilled. Darvaza village sits alone within the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, carrying an eternally burning crater like a massive and deep scar upon the barren Earth surface. This giant fire formed from a drilling rig collapse accident over 50 years ago and still continues to burn very strongly until this present day. With a width of about 230 feet, this glowing crater has an area equal to one large football field covered by sea flames. Nomadic residents here have adapted to life atop a massive natural gas pocket by moving their traditional tents across the endless and golden sand dunes. Insects attracted by the bright light often plunge into the 100-foot-deep crater, creating a completely strange and mysterious natural phenomenon for viewers. The human presence amidst this arid land is a testament to the resilient survival ability alongside the burning and powerful natural energy sources found nearby. Comic village Shan is located in the remote Spiti region of India and is officially recognized as the highest motorable settlement on the planet. Sitting at a staggering altitude of 15,049 feet above sea level, this landmark remains completely isolated from modern civilization. The oxygen levels here drop to only 50%, turning every single step taken by humans into a literal battle for survival. The most peculiar feature is the abundance of ancient marine fossils scattered across this barren and high-altitude landscape. Hidden away among the arid sandhills of Tunisia, Matmata is a strange village where humans dig deep into the earth to find a place to dwell. Residents here build their homes by digging pits 23 feet deep and then carving horizontally into the earthen walls to create various functional rooms. This massive cave system has a core area equivalent to 10 standard football fields lying completely submerged beneath the vast surface of the dry desert. The thick clay walls help block out the harsh external heat and keep the living spaces in the most stable and comfortable condition for everyone. The monochromatic beauty of the craters and stone doorways once became the setting for a fictional planet in epic and world-famous science fiction movies. This invisible village has endured for 1,000 years as a testament to the extraordinary adaptive intelligence of the ancient and resilient local Berber tribes. Carved deep into a limestone canyon of the Basilicata region, Matera stands as a stone labyrinth surrounded by the Gravina River and dry, rugged terrain today. The ancient cave dwellings are built directly into the steep cliffs, creating a complex housing system that seems to be hanging precariously over the very deep mountain edges. Until the middle of the 20th century, thousands of people lived inside these dark caves without any electricity or modern water systems under extremely difficult conditions. This site represents one of the longest continuously inhabited human settlements in history, where people have survived in caves for over 9,000 years until the present. Looking down from the high Civita district, the entire city appears as a grey strip of stone hanging on a slope over 200 meters deep now. Every journey through the narrow stone alleys and into the dark grottos offers a profound experience of human resilience within a very extreme and ancient landscape. Whittier Village, nestled beside a deep bay in Alaska, takes the shape of a strange town contained entirely within a single, massive, and sturdy building. Nearly all local residents live and work under one solid concrete roof to cope with the extremely harsh and challenging natural environmental conditions. Thick snow layers covering the land annually reach 20 feet, equal to the height of 2 giraffes stacked together, which completely isolates this remote village. To reach this land, humans must pass through a unique 2-mile-long tunnel through the mountain, which was originally an old military engineering project. White waterfalls flow straight down from the mountain peaks right next to the small windows, creating a truly majestic and very powerful natural landscape. Human life here is a prime example of resilient adaptation within a concentrated living space full of very special and highly unusual characteristics nearby. Rising from a massive volcanic ash block in the Tuscany region of Italy, Pitigliano is a towering stone fortress situated directly on the edge of cliffs. The entire architecture of the village is carved directly from volcanic rock, creating a perfect unity between the houses and the natural ancient mountain walls. Ancient stone paths with walls 66 feet high run around the village, creating a mystical transportation system that was entirely hand-carved by humans. More than 50% of the residents' living space actually lies deep inside the mountain, with a system of ancient wine cellars and historic tombs. Rows of houses cling tightly to the abyss, creating a mossy stone horizon that stands out amidst the lush and green ancient forest of the valley. The rock supporting the whole village is 200,000 years old and still stands firm through historical changes as a symbol of great endurance. Miao Village, hidden among the steep valleys of Guizhou, becomes the largest wooden architectural complex on the planet, with thousands of ancient traditional houses. Over 1,400 traditional stilt houses built closely together cover an area equal to 40 standard football fields on the steep mountainsides. The system of wooden pillars supports the entire structures on terrain with a 70-degree slope without using any metal nails for the construction. Local residents utilize the winding stone steps to connect house levels, creating a very unique and complex transportation network located deep within the forest. Covered wooden bridges stretching across the central river become common community spaces and preserve the ancient cultural values of this truly remarkable mountain village. The existence of this wooden kingdom on dangerous cliffs proves the masterful building techniques and the very enduring vitality of these resilient human beings. Rocamadour is located on a vertical limestone cliff in the Alzeux Valley of France, showing a majestic appearance with many buildings stacked on each other. The ancient architectural complex clings to the vertical rock face, measuring 394 feet high, equal to a 40-story building in the sky. Stone houses use the cliff face directly as their back walls, helping to save construction space and increase the ability to cling to the mountain. The walking path, consisting of 216 stone steps, connects different architectural levels, creating a vital transportation artery weaving through the mountain heart. The system of tiled roofs and limestone walls blends perfectly into the colors of nature, creating a solid fortress throughout many years of long history. People here have successfully conquered the dangerous terrain to build an enduring and very impressive living space that continues to stand tall through many centuries. Hidden deep within the snowy canyons of the Himalayan mountains in Yunnan Province, China, Yubeng is an isolated village with no roads for any motor vehicles. To reach this place, people must overcome an 11-mile-long walking path, crossing over dangerous mountain passes higher than 12,100 feet. The entire village is surrounded by 13 permanent limestone peaks, creating a natural wall that completely separates the area from the rest of the modern world. Two-story wooden houses, built by hand, scattered across the lush green slopes, are home to about 30 households living in this extremely remote mountain valley. Millions of 5-colored prayer flags hung along the paths are spiritual symbols closely linked to the self-sufficient lives of the local mountain residents. The only source of domestic water for the community is the pure flow from melting snow on the 22,000-foot peak pouring down. Gimmelwald village is perched precariously on a massive rock ledge within the Swiss Alps, becoming a very isolated oasis surrounded by many steep mountain cliffs. The village clings to an altitude of 4,265 feet, where vertical stone walls create a truly formidable and natural boundary. A slender, stable car system acts as the only vital lifeline, connecting residents and all essential supplies across the very deep and dark abyss. Dark pine wooden chalets with a long history of over 700 years still stand firm against all harsh impacts of the high mountain terrain. Residents maintain a pure agricultural lifestyle on steep meadows where many natural waterfalls flow directly out from deep crevices within the ancient surrounding rocks. The existence of this tiny community within the vast space proves the enduring survival ability of human beings when facing the greatness of Mother Nature. Perched high within the majestic Andes Mountains of Argentina lies Iruya, a small town located near the Bolivian border at an elevation of nearly 10,000 feet. The name Iruya originates from the Quechua language meaning land of plenty straw, reflecting a past where abundant vegetation supported the local farming and livestock activities. Often described as hanging from the cliffs, the village features red-roofed houses stacked on steep slopes, appearing like a surreal island surrounded by deep mountain ravines. Reaching this remote destination requires traveling over 30 miles of dangerous dirt roads where steep inclines and slippery surfaces create a high-risk journey for all visitors. Located hundreds of miles from the nearest major city, any emergency rescue or significant repair work in Iruya takes a long time and requires extreme effort. During the heavy rainy season, frequent landslides can completely block the only access road, leaving the village isolated without any possibility of reaching vital medical assistance. This is Kulusuk, a village located on a tiny island of only 34 square miles in southeastern Greenland, positioned near the Arctic Circle in the freezing north today. The name Kulusuk means the breast of a seabird, representing a deep connection to the ocean and ice, rather than to the flat mainland surfaces found in other regions. From above, the village appears as a strip of bright blue, red, and yellow houses, clinging to the ice edge, looking both beautiful and fragile against the nature now. Life here remains very basic, as many families still carry water by hand and live without modern indoor systems to survive in this harsh polar environment in the north. Tucked away within a deep valley along the Shogawa River is Shirakawa-go, an ancient village surrounded by the massive and majestic Japanese Alps in central Japan today. You will face an extremely harsh mountain climate where heavy rains and storms occur much more frequently than in the warmer plains near Tokyo or Osaka. Shirakawa-go is famous for its record-breaking snowfall, as thick layers of white ice can cover the entire village with a depth of up to 10 feet. The Gasho-zukuri architecture, with steep roofs like praying hands, is a smart solution developed by residents to support the heavy weight of the winter snow. The village currently preserves over 110 original houses with centuries of history, creating a precious and unique heritage space for the local community. While walking along the small paths, you will realize this is a vibrant living community rather than just a preserved museum for the many visiting tourists. Located deep within the Serra do Ashore Piodão is a lonely schist village perched at an altitude of 700 to 800 meters above sea level. With a small population of about 100 to 150 residents, this stone city remains trapped in a world of fog and cold winds. The steep terrain means that a single rolling rock or a heavy rain can easily block the narrow paths and cut off the village from the outside world. Built entirely from local dark schist stone, the houses and staircases form a grey architectural strip that clings firmly to the vertical slopes of the high mountain. Life for the 100 residents moves very slowly in a misty world, staying completely separated from the modern urban reality that exists far below the peaks. Staying on this rugged slope between the forest and the rocks is an extreme survival choice, turning Piodao into an impressive and very lasting stone landscape today. In the rocky desert valley of Yemen, Wadi Dawan village appears as a cluster of mud structures rising along steep slopes where human life exists within space confined by towering cliffs. Multi-story houses are built entirely from mud brick and wood, placed closely together along the slope to maximize limited land and improve structural stability. The narrow terrain with sandstone and limestone cliffs makes movement difficult, while also limiting water storage and agricultural development. Water supply depends on seasonal flow and rainfall, creating constant pressure on survival due to unstable natural conditions. The climate is hot and dry, with temperatures exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit, increasing the challenge of storing water and maintaining daily life. These mud brick structures are built one level at a time over years, allowing them to dry and stabilize, forming rare tall buildings made entirely from natural materials. Located in northeastern India, Mawzinram village forms a confined mountainous environment where low clouds and steep terrain create a restricted and difficult living space. The land consists mainly of limestone and sandstone, which erode over time, forming underground caves and complex subsurface structures. The ground remains soft, and unstable, requiring careful step control, especially across exposed rock and steep surfaces. Visibility is often limited by fog and elevated terrain, making distance perception unreliable and constantly changing. Some cave systems extend for several thousand feet underground, forming a complex geological network rarely seen in mountainous environments. Pitcairn Village, located in the remote South Pacific, is a British overseas territory with the smallest population on Earth of about 50 residents. The mutineers from the HMS Bounty burned their ship and chose these steep basalt cliffs as a place for permanent hiding. This extreme volcanic terrain, surrounded by cliffs 1,100 feet high, makes approaching by sea incredibly dangerous. This community lives in total isolation, as the nearest populated area with city lights is located 3,300 miles away. The surrounding waters, covering 320,000 square miles, represent one of the largest and most pristine natural reserves on the planet. In the remote Pacific Ocean, Palmerston Village in the Cook Islands exists as a rare isolated community where daily life depends entirely on the ocean and limited resources. The population consists of only a few dozen people living on low land, just a few feet above sea level, creating constant exposure to environmental changes. There is no airport or regular transport access, so all travel depends on ships, requiring long journeys across open ocean waters. Fresh water is collected only from rainfall, forcing residents to store and manage supplies carefully without a stable alternative source. Poor soil quality limits agriculture, increasing dependence on fishing and marine resources for long-term survival. Under long-term isolation, the community remains stable through strict resource allocation and coordinated cooperation among all members. Located in the fiery outback of South Australia, Coober Pedy challenges every limit of living. As all human biological rhythms shift completely deep into the underground. Most residents live their daily lives inside meticulously carved caves, featuring full living rooms and kitchens beneath the layers of orange and red limestone. The surface of this land is occupied by millions of conical dirt mounds, creating a strange sight, identical to the rugged surface of the moon. This village provides up to 70% of the global opal gemstone supply, thanks to the precious geological layers from a very ancient and vast ocean. Trees made of scrap iron are erected amidst the red dust to replace the natural greenery which simply cannot take root in this desert region. Living beneath the ground helps people completely save on heating energy, since the natural stone walls always maintain a very steady and comfortable internal state. This is Mikladalur, a village located on the isolated island of Kalsoy in the Faroe Islands, where heavy waves and thick fog often dominate the North Atlantic landscape. The village lies in a wide U-shaped valley surrounded by vertical cliffs, making the entire settlement look like a green hole trapped between the massive mountain rocks. To reach this place, you must travel through long mountain tunnels over 1 mile long, which serve as the only connection between the village and the world. These traditional turf-roofed houses serve as a natural skin to keep you warm during winter, while protecting the structures from the strong and constant coastal winds now. The area is famous for the dark legend of the Selkie woman whose curse caused many local men to lose their lives at sea or on cliffs. From a distance, Mikladalur appears as a strip of turf-roofed houses clinging to the coast, looking like a beautiful fairy tale painting that hides many real natural dangers. This is Maymand, a stone oasis located within the volcanic ash regions of southeastern Iran, where people face extreme heat and desert winds every single day. Instead of using mud or bricks, these residents carve their homes directly into the soft, volcanic rock to create a very practical and permanent living space. Living inside these caves helps the community survive the intense desert climate where days are burning hot and nights become freezing cold for the local people. With a history of continuous habitation for over 2,000 years, this ancient cave village remains one of the oldest human settlements still active in the world. From a distance, the hillside looks like a giant stone honeycomb with hundreds of cave entrances distributed across the slopes of the dry mountain range today. To manage the harsh environment, you can see how residents follow a semi-nomadic lifestyle by moving between different settlements according to the changing desert seasons.